welcome to another episode of Houston Moms on the Move. This is our Houston Moms series designed to encourage, engage, inspire you with high profile, high impact women around our great city of Houston who are doing big things in the community, but also doing big things at home while raising families. It is my complete joy to welcome Meg Owen, who you may know if you are on Instagram a lot, as Mego. And she has been in the Instagram influencer sphere world for a really long time. And I've had the joy to follow her. She's a former contributor to Houston Mom. She was actually on the original crew. And we just kind of crossed paths briefly. But now we kind of, like follow each other in the social circles. And I thought she would be an amazing guest to have on to tell you how she balances it all. And also, maybe she can provide us some few tips and tricks about what she does. So, Meg, thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me. It's
Yeah.
so fun. I haven't done an interview in a long time. I'm excited someone wants to talk to me.
Because I do think kind of in that influencer realm, it might get a little lonely a bit because it's
Yes, that's one thing that I didn't realize because I am a former educator. I taught and directed high school and junior high theater for 10 years. So I feel like I had a whole other career before I took this full time and I was constantly interacting and now I talk to a screen. So that's fun to talk to people.
but you do have some really interesting engagements on your Instagram channel specifically, and I know also your YouTube channel. Tell us a little bit about how this all got started. Because again, like I mentioned, you're one of the OGs.
Yeah, I call myself
Before it
a
was
grandma
cool, you were
blogger.
doing
Yeah, I was a grandma blogger. So,
it.
back in 2009, so this is really what is this like 15, almost 16 years at this point. I was like I mentioned before, I was a high school theater teacher and director, and I hadn't had kids at the time. And my one of my best friends was like, "You should start blogging. Everyone's blogging." No one was blogging. And I was like, "Oh, that's fun." So, and I've always been like a really creative person. I really like to express myself and share things that I was finding. I was such a beauty geek. My background is in stage makeup and I was always into like finding dupes. I was kind of a makeup artist as well at the time and I was always into finding like the best products and I started blogging alongside teaching and then I started having kids and it was, really interesting to have like balance like a full-time teaching career that was directing plays and musicals and stuff after school along with having this little thing here on the side that I was like, I know this is something, I don't know what it is yet. I didn't even you couldn't get paid for it back then. It was a hobby back then. And someone wanted to pay me and I was like, this you can get paid to do this? I can make money doing this. And so I started building, I knew something was in it. Like deep down, I just kind of knew. I had that gut
Mhm.
feeling. So, this was before even Instagram existed. So of course, then I started Instagram. I started YouTube, all the other social platforms. And I really kind of grew everything all at once while I was also still teaching was not easy by any means. I look back and I'm like, how did I do all of that? I don't really know.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got to have my second child and it was just so much to juggle, both teaching and doing this. And I was starting to make a little bit more money over on my blog and Instagram and getting brand deals and affiliates and stuff like that. I ended up stopped teaching full time and then I went part time for 2 years, which really kind of helped me catapult my business, my own business, really full time. And I ended up leaving in 2017. So it's like 8 years now that I've been doing this for myself. So I feel like I've had two completely different careers in my lifetime as an adult. But I knew something was in it. I really enjoyed sharing, and I really built my platform on authenticity, and I really built it on just sharing authentic, like, really real reviews. I wasn't doing Instagram makeup. I wasn't doing, like, stuff that was hard for people to achieve at home. I was doing stuff that was easy, and I was finding all the drugstore stuff that people might, could afford, especially moms who were, like, at Target or Walmart or wherever they are at the drugstore. They could just pick something up, and know that they were getting a good product type of thing, and I went viral on the first place I went viral was Pinterest, actually, and that's where a lot of my drugstore content exploded, and how it kinda catapulted me on my other platforms. So, I like to call myself, like, the original drugstore queen on Pinterest, and then everyone copied me. So, but yes, I feel like that was a really long-winded answer, but that's how it started.
Yeah. No, I love it. And so now you have 3 kids, right?
I have 3 kids now. So my kids are 13, 10, and 5. And,
Love the baby. I still
I
wanna
know,
call him a baby.
he was my little baby, and I had him, like, 6 months before the COVID and everything, so I was really just kind of in the throes of having an infant and 2 other kids at home in the middle of the pandemic, and now he's just grown up and in kindergarten now. It's crazy.
Ugh, how rude of him.
So rude.
Um, so we know you live in kind of the southeast part of Houston. You're down
Yes.
in our League City area.
Yep, in the League City area.
So, which I love because Houston is so huge, and we
Yeah.
just typically think I live almost a full shore, so we are a good.
Oh, yeah, we're like an hour apart,
I know, and it's why I've wanted you to come do my makeup, and it's just
and
like,
I'm just
well,
like, "Well."
logistically,
Yeah, I know,
maybe
and my sister lives in Cyprus, so anytime we wanna, like, hang out, we really just have to plan it strategically because we have to drive an hour each way to see each other.
good old Houston. So now that your kind of journey has become, I mean, this is what you do full time.
I do.
So how are you balancing that with kids and needs and I guess advantages and disadvantages? Because I can see some advantages. Like you're
Yeah,
able to.
so I think it was much harder when my kids were younger, and especially my youngest being this age gap between my oldest and youngest and middle, like, he's 5 years younger than my middle child. So I felt like I kinda started over and I was having little kids at home while trying to do this again. But now that he did start going to, like, Mother's Day out and things like that, but it really just is so much easier now that they're older and they're out of the house because I can do the majority of what I need to do during the school day. Um, and that's really now how I juggle it. Before, it was more like I was doing the nap time hustle, put the baby down for a nap, try to get stuff done, work at night, like just all these random like pockets of time that I could find throughout the day to do something. That's when I was working on it. And before I even took this full time, it was like I would be at school all day. I would work on this at night and the weekends. It was like I think when you are really wanting something, you think to yourself like I've got to make the time for this. Um, and that's my maybe not like the most, I don't know, it doesn't make you the most healthy person to stay up till 2 a.m. But you know what I'm saying? When you have this drive and like something's there and you want it, you like really have that drive to make it happen in whatever time it takes. And
Mhm.
so in many years it was more of a struggle to juggle it. Now it's less because again, they're all in school. I can get most of what I need to do during the school day, and I don't really work on the weekends anymore when I used to. So I think it really just depends on your season of life that you're in with your
Mhm.
kids.
Seasons of life is just it's a thing. Like when
Yeah.
our kids are babies, I mean, I had the twin toddlers and it made me laugh when you talked about like I don't even remember how I did it. None of
Yeah.
us do, right?
Yeah,
Like it,
it's like
it
something takes over.
you just one step in front of the other, next day, the next day, the next day, until all of a sudden you blink and you're where you're at now.
And you're
So what
like,
does your
"I have space now. What's
I
happening?"
know. Like, no one's touching me, for 7 or 8 hours. It's like which I love, like, I love hugs and whatever, but you get touched off
Yeah.
as a mom.
Yep.
Um, what does your daily life schedule work look like now? What is that? Do you have kind of a balance that you do there?
I am such a creative person that I like to go off vibes with, like, the way that I'm feeling, like, regarding my own work for the day,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, I can't go off vibes with my other commitments with my children and things like that, so I my kids luckily, I don't have to do carpool or anything, that's a lovely thing for me that the bus is, like, right outside our house, so my all my kids ride the bus, and it's a matter of just sending them off, making sure they get out. I'm very much like the evening parent, like, my husband and I split responsibilities, and I think that's what really keeps us very balanced is because he's more of a morning person, I'm more of an evening person, so he kinda takes charge of the morning, and I take charge of the evening, the bedtimes, the setting the clothes out, the lunches packed for the next day type of thing. So, and I think that works really well. So that's first of all, I think that's how we, don't go crazy during the week.
Uh,
But basically the week looks like just making sure they get off to school. Both of us work from home too, and that has over the years been interesting because we used to work like side by side in the same room and we're like kind of getting sick of each other after a while. So we now have two like separate places that we work. I'll have to be like he'll be on a call during the day and I'm like, "Hey, I'm about to film something just so you know, don't walk in here," type of thing. So it's just, balancing two working parents at home during the day when the kids are out. And then, every day varies for me. Like some days I'm filming, some days I'm writing, some days I'm spending all day at the computer, just like doing stuff in the back end. Some days I'm just spending like I'm so behind on email that I have to spend. It just depends on what's going on. It's
yeah.
not like a set thing for me. And some days I like to go and film at a studio in town. Some days I'll have an event. Some days I'll have something that I'm invited to in town. It just really depends on me. And the beauty of what I do is that I can schedule it around what's going on with my kids. So but my kids are busy too. We're at the ages where and my older two especially where my middle child is really into dance and they're both into theater and my middle child's in theater and dance and my oldest is in theater and piano. So there's a lot of like driving them to their practices and things like that. And but, and also meal planning, making sure we have like a meal plan for the week because we don't want to eat out every night and just grab something in the drive-through. We always have a plan because that saves us money and we're eating at home even if we're not eating together. There's something for someone when they're home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that when we get to the afternoon and evenings, every day is, taking a kid somewhere to some kind of practice and the weekends we tend to chill, tend to just kinda regroup, make the plan for the next week, and rinse and repeat.
Yeah. No, it feels a lot like that, but what I hear a lot is fluidity in your schedule. So,
Yeah.
also props to working at home with your husband.
Oh, yeah.
Because if anyone knows me, as soon as COVID let mine go back into the office, I'm like,
You're
"When
like,
are you
"Goodbye."
going?" Like,
Yeah.
in the
No, it's
nicest way possible. He is a very nice man, and he is very much a helper, and he takes my kid to track at 6:30 AM. So,
yeah,
yay, but I need you to be, like, in your office. So, the fact that you
yeah.
can do that and you're still like,
We're still getting along.
"Yep, well,
That's pretty
yeah."
good.
I
I think
mean,
and I
it's
completely unfaze him. I'll walk in sometimes with, like, the most crazy thing that I'm doing, and he just is like, "Okay." Like, I'll have, like, this blue thing on my face or trying a weird makeup look, and he's just like, "Whatever."
like, I knew who I married.
Yeah, I knew
So,
what I was getting into.
given that too, so, when we think of this, I mean, I don't know a better word, like, this influencer world, I mean, for lack of a better word, I mean, you have inspired me
Oh, well,
to
thank
buy
you.
a handful of things,
Oh,
including
thank
the
you.
Tom Ford Foundation,
That
which
has now been discontiutied, unfortunately.
I know, and I am very upset, and I was
Yeah,
happy to pay the $80 for it. I was because it was
and now And
No,
now they just had to ruin our lives.
no, it just
They had to do it to us.
I'm very sad. But I mean, bigger than that, what would you say is the biggest misconception about what you do? Because I think sometimes there can be a bad rap
Yeah,
over
and I
social
think there
media.
are I think there are people that kinda have those intentions of trying to make a quick buck or whatever, but that's never been mine because if we go back 15 years, I didn't even know you can make money doing this. And I know a
Mm,
lot of people in this industry now, they get into it because they know they can have like a little side hustle or something. I didn't even know, like I said. So I've always had this outlook that I'm in it for just like the real deal, who I am. Who I am online is who will what you see in person. At least I've been told that. I think the big misconception is that this is easy. And while yes, it is
mm,
seemingly easy, it's also harder in different ways. This job is easier day to day than directing high school theater, but it is harder in the way I have to be self-motivated, the mental resiliency that I need
mm,
to do this, and that goes beyond just, like it's so many different things too, it's so layered, like, it's like, dealing with people who always wanna be negative or have something negative to say about you, and also trying to keep up or trying to compare yourself to others, like, "Why does this person have, like, 1,000,000 views, and I've worked at this for 15 years, and I'm only here?" You know what I'm saying? Like, you got caught up in so many other things that you never did in your life with other things,
mm,
and while it is easier, it is requires a lot more confidence, resiliency, and just like self-awareness as well
mm.
than I think I've ever had to be capable of before, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, and I think one thing that I appreciate about your channel so much is that that is what I see. Is just this like steadfastness. Like this is what I like. This is, and if you guys don't like it, that's okay. But like this
Yeah.
is what I'm doing,
Mm.
and it seems very helpful to help with our hooded eyes or how to put on our eyebrows and it may sound, I don't want to use the word trite, but it sometimes when you're in motherhood, you are not feeling maybe your best self. And sometimes just a little tweak of in a little, minute to learn something new, I think is incredibly empowering.
I do too,
Um,
and I've always said this too, that like beauty is my therapy because whenever I notice this myself, the days that I get stuck at the computer or just like doing something and not take the time to like do anything to myself, the mood is different. When I take the
mm,
time to just even if it's just like throw on some mascara and lip gloss or something, the mood is different. And it's not saying that the outside is more important. It's just sometimes when you help the outside a little bit, it helps the inside a little bit.
yeah. Well, because I think it's self-care.
Yeah.
It's showing yourself enough care to go ahead and get in the shower.
Yeah. I
And
care about myself enough to do this for myself today.
yes, and rinse off. And there are some days, I mean, where I'm just like, gosh, I'm like doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and then I get in the shower and it's 3 p.m. Like, why is it
Yeah.
3 p.m.? I don't have young babies. And then I got in the shower and I was like, why didn't I do this like 6 hours
Just
ago?
yeah.
Insane. And so I think that's what I much appreciate about what you do.
Thank
Um,
you.
because I think it's very much just like we deserve it. Um,
Yeah, we
so
do, and it doesn't have to be hard because I think we get online and we see these incredibly complicated makeup tutorials. We see these young 20 somethings just like doing that wing liner, doing this contour, like just so many complicated things. And you're like, you look at it and you're like, huh? I don't know what to do here. So I think having a space where I can express myself in a more simpler, attainable way that other people are probably applying their makeup, like, in real life, that's what
Yeah.
I relate to more, because I enjoy a glam, like, again, my background's in stage. I know
Yeah.
how to do all that, but I resonate more with the everyday.
Yeah, we need the 5-minute face, the one that
Yeah.
doesn't that makes us look like we slept, a handful of hours instead of like 2. Um, Definitely the attainable. So, with that, I mean, I know, like, beauty is your thing and whatnot. What do you do for you? I mean, you're doing this full time, you have 3 busy kids, husband who works from home. What do you do for Meg time?
Ooh, I think a lot of that is like I've lately, especially into my 40s, I've really focused on thinking about long-term longevity for myself and what that looks like physically and mentally. So I've been spending a lot of time working on my wellness, like my fitness, and I'm working out to live longer, to be stronger, and I have completely shifted my mindset with this, like working out to be stronger and living longer, having bone density, and like being able to lift my potential grandkids in the future, being able to hike when I'm 80 kind of thing. And that's given me some motivation to really take care of myself. And
Mm,
then also, not only physically, but mentally as well, just making sure that I really take time to just stop and it could be prayer, meditation, it could be just journaling, and I've discovered, because I'm a very, like, busy person, I like to be moving at all times,
mhm.
and I don't like to sit and, like, I feel like writing, like, with my hand in a piece of paper, it takes too long, because my brain
Yeah.
is moving faster than my hand. So I've discovered audio journaling. It's like my own personal podcast
Oh,
where I pick up, like, this little app and I start talking to it instead of and, like, venting. So,
yeah.
sometimes we get, like, in our heads about things, or, like, we're feeling like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know who to talk to, and I feel like if I just vent about this to a friend, they're gonna think it's stupid." You pick up your own little personal podcast and start venting to it, and the app that I use, like, transcribes what I'm saying, and, like, I mean, you could do this in your notes app too, just turn the microphone on and just, like, vent to it. And I found that, like, that form of journaling for me is more therapeutic than trying to well, I just threw my pen, flew it in the air, but it's more therapeutic for me than trying to sit down and be like, "I am writing in a journal," you know? I
Mm.
don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense, and I actually love that so, so very much. I'm very much a writer at heart. So when I have something on my brain, like I have to get it out.
Yeah,
But sometimes like I can't text it fast enough. I'm not a good notes person. So my only solution is to sit in front of my desktop. And sometimes that's just not feasible. I love that idea. And
or
then
just
you can,
audio voice notes to yourself.
yeah. And then you can get your written, like kind of the real word back
Yeah,
to you,
mhm.
um, and look back on that. I think that's a great idea. I love that.
Yes, the
Um,
app is called Day One if those are interested in it.
Day one.
And it's just like a journaling app, but you can type in it on your desktop or on your phone,
Okay.
and or you can do audio, or you can do a picture, or you can do whatever. It's pretty cool because it's not taking up space like in your notes app, and I feel like your notes app gets so jumbled, and this one, like, organizes it for anyone that was curious about that and
No,
wanted
we
to
are
do that
gonna
on their
drop
own.
that in the show notes. That's a great thing. My last question before we go into rapid fire.
Yeah,
With the with you having to like record a lot of stuff and your job just looks maybe a little bit different than your kids parents do.
yeah.
How do you explain to your children and how have they kind of dealt with like what mom does and how do you kind of work them into the situation, because I've seen at least one or two in some makeup tutorials or something.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I think kids these days quite understand it a lot more than adults, quite
Mm,
frankly, because they are familiar with social media a lot more than adults are, I think, and they understand the idea of, well, a creator, a digital creator, and, especially my younger my son, he probably has no clue, but, like, my older 2, I explain it to them, like, "I do this, I used to do this, but now I do this. I, film stuff, I post it on social media or my blog or Instagram, blah, blah, blah." And they're like they think that's cool, and, I think they're accepting of that, and they think it's awesome, but I don't like to but on the same vein, I don't like to exploit them because, like you've said, you've seen my kids and my content. It's always on their terms. So
Mhm.
when they were little, obviously, sometimes they'd be on it more because 'cause they're babies and they don't whatever. But when they're older, I wanna make sure that they're consenting to being in my content, and if they help me out with something, I also pay them to help me with stuff. If they help me out, they get $10 or $20 depending on what the job is. Like sometimes a brand will ask for a kid to be in the content with me. That's not as often lately, but if they are, I pay them for that. And if my youngest or my middle child, she really wants to film stuff with me, then that's fine. But I think they have a really good understanding of what it
Mhm.
is, and I think it's easier for them to understand it than most adults, honestly.
I agree with you. My daughter can probably run circles around me in Canva.
Yeah,
She uses it for yearbook. She gets it. She doesn't have access to YouTube. Well, she has access to YouTube, but not to like create right now. Um,
yeah,
but she'll make her own little videos and she's just that is the world that they live in. Um,
yeah,
for school project, each of them had to create a video and give the top points for the social studies project. And I'm like, I would have fallen down when I was
yeah,
in 8th grade if I had to do
but they
that.
have
But
but
they
they
are
just are
so
so no
comfortable.
they're so good at it, and my oldest, that she wants to do videos and stuff too, and I let her as long as I'm monitoring it very
Yeah.
closely, but because it's like I'm kind of like, it's gonna happen anyway. But if I'm there and we create this environment with my kids, like I'm gonna always know more than you in this, even though I might not, but I'm gonna say I do.
Yeah.
Um, and it's
We have all
it's a
the
two,
protections. We're watching
yeah,
everything you do.
yeah, exactly, which I do, and there's a
Yeah.
very good like, back and forth communication between the 2 of us. I think that that's what makes it more of a safer I mean, she obviously has time limits, she can't be on it all day, she only can do it a short amount of time, but, like,
Yeah.
I think just letting them express themselves in that way, heavily monitored, makes it more healthy because they don't wanna rebel as much with it.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I'm with you. And it is just kind of the way their future is going. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm sure you're almost getting to the age if they're not there that my kids talk to their friends over FaceTime.
yeah.
They don't have phone calls.
No, they FaceTime. They're, like, in
They
little group calls all the time.
they FaceTime and they're all getting ready and it's at funky angles and they don't care, which I
No.
think is the most amazing part because I think of me coming on here or whatever, like I'm
You have
like,
to be polished, you have to be ready, camera
oh,
ready.
and they actually I think that's such a healthy thing. Like
Yeah.
my
They're
daughter's crush has seen her without, makeup and whatever, but then we have to also watch that. So that's a
yeah,
whole other can of worms.
yeah,
But yeah, it's a new age that they're living into. And so it's cool that you're kind of on the forefront of it.
yeah,
To
because
be
they're
able
gonna
to
want
guide
it,
and
and
help.
I'm very strict on, like, what apps they can have at what ages, but when they are allowed to have it, it's like I said, super monitored and limited in their time every day, they can only be on it X amount of time, because and then they're like, they don't feel I don't know, they're getting a taste of it, it's heavily monitored, and they don't feel like they're in this wild west. Like, when we grew up on the wild west of the internet in these, like, chat rooms and AOL, like, we were unsupervised. I feel like they are a little bit better supervised, although there
Yeah.
are more things that they can get into trouble with nowadays.
Yeah, well, listen. babies of the '80s, like, those AOL chat rooms were
That
something else.
was sketchy.
It was it was it was very sketch. You could be talking to your friend from high school or you were
An
not.
old man. We didn't know.
You
We would
yeah,
never know.
it was pretty scary. Well, I love that you make social media just a fun place to be. And I think it's obviously incredibly heavy on social media right now.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on and we could probably
yeah,
talk about that for a long time.
yeah.
Um, but I fully believe that places like Houston Moms and Meg O and all of those entities have a spot on social media so that we can, you know, not only just like bring levity, but we
We
can
can connect
warn.
over things that, like, we felt alone in. And I think, yes, social media has felt very toxic. If you set some boundaries with yourself, and limits with yourself, which we're trying to do with our children, apply that to
Mhm,
yourself, and I think it
mhm.
creates more of a healthier relationship with it. Like, you're going on to connect, you're not going on to doom scroll and,
Yeah,
like, fall into this pit of despair, you know?
yeah, which is so easy to do, and
Oh,
we
so
do
easy. You
need.
wake up and there's negative things as soon as you open this up.
No. No, and I have, and you probably have too. I've just started deleting. I just can't. I
Yeah,
want I want my happy place of makeup and funny mom memes and
yeah. There's a
an
time and place.
Enneagram thrown in there. I mean,
Yeah, there's a time and place. Like, when you're not mentally, like, ready, you're not mentally strong enough to get up on, like, immediately, and the first thing in the morning you see is a negative headline. Like, be in a good spot in your day and then look at
mm,
it, if you really wanna catch up and know what's going on. But, like, it's hard too, because it's like, I feel like I always have to be scrolling as somebody who does
yes,
this as a job. I always have to be
yes,
looking at what's going on to make sure that I have a pulse on it,
yes.
and that can really mess you up if you are not careful.
I 100% subscribe to that.
Yeah,
Because the same way I feel like I need to know what's happening, what's trending, what are people kind of spiraling about. But then I have to not make myself
not
spiral,
spiral yourself. Yeah.
which is why I pay Taylor Garcia every 2 weeks to go to therapy. And
Smart move.
like it helps keep me somewhat floating above the
Yeah,
water. So
yeah.
um quick pivots because I want to
Yes, let's do
respect
it.
your time.
It's your
Um so rapid fire. You guys are kind of
okay.
down there in the southeast, but I know you come into town a little bit. What is your favorite family friendly restaurant in Houston?
I was gonna say Jimmy Chongas, but do y'all have any of those in town? I'm like, where is it? Okay, there's a
There's one
couple,
in
League City.
Katy.
There is? Okay. Let's
Mhm.
say suburban moms like Jimmy Chongas because there is a playground.
Yes. And what else do they have? They have the free ice cream.
They have ice cream and a playground.
That's all we
There
need.
you go.
And there's
What all do you
margaritas.
need? Margaritas, ice cream, playground. You're good.
Done. Um, okay, so you guys are busy in the evenings with kids running around, and you mentioned meal planning earlier when we were talking.
Yeah.
What is a one meal you can make that all three of the kiddos will eat?
It's so easy. It's like this, we call it the Logan pasta because my youngest Logan always requests it, like, literally all the time. It's just literally like a kielbasa sausage with, bow tie pasta and some other things mixed in it in, like, one pot, and I don't even look at a recipe anymore, I just throw it all in and it's done in, like, 30 minutes. So I'm glad you like something easy.
Oh, Logan pasta. Oh, he'll
But,
remember that forever too. Like he'll
yeah.
probably be making it for his kids.
Yes.
Um, favorite place to go in Houston with the fam?
We, live down by NASA, so I really love, like, Johnson Space Center. I especially love their galaxy lights. We love that. That's a seasonal thing. But other than that, we really like trampoline parks for some reason. Like, we have a
Mm.
couple in the area, and I know they're all over. But sometimes when we're just, like, really cooped up and everybody wants to, like, get out all their energy, like, even me and my husband will just, like, jump on the trampoline park things together.
Yeah. Oh,
Enjoy it.
keep it alive. We are all still kids at heart. I do
Yeah.
know, just because I followed you for a while, you guys also enjoy the theater too with your girls, right?
So, yes, and I was gonna that we don't all 5 do that, but
Mhm.
the other thing, like, I love to do with my girls, my son is almost old enough for this, is I take them down, to Theater Under the Stars. I see most of their I see their entire season, so I work with them and, they have me out to most of their opening nights, and I take the girls to the ones that I know that they'll like, and so I really connect with my girls over going to the theater. Hopefully, my son will be old enough to do that soon.
Oh, y'all have the cutest outfits too when you
Oh,
go.
yeah, I plan
It's
to a
all
theme.
themed.
Yep, if we're like, we just went to Mean Girls, we all wore pink. When we
They
went
were
to Frozen, we all wore
great.
sparkles and blue and white.
I love it. And then, okay, two more questions. Um,
Yes.
what is the one beauty product that you think beauty or healthcare product that you or self-care that you think moms should have on hand?
Um, Sunscreen. If you're not wearing sunscreen, my friend, please start.
Do you have a recommendation on one that you love? And kind of since you're kind of known as the drugstore, kind of dupey, like is there one that you absolutely love that we could go pick up at
Oh, see,
Walgreens,
mine's a
CVS,
very
or
complicated answer because I really love Korean and Japanese sunscreens and I order
um,
them from Asia. So, but if you are not crazy like me, I just love the way that they feel. Like they don't sting your eyes, they don't burn, they don't have a smell. Like they're just so elegant and because they used filters, like sunscreen filters in Asia that we don't have in the US that are not approved yet. They're far more advanced, so they're more elegant to use, and that's why I love them. But if I were to go grab something real quick, I would recommend, there's a couple of mineral ones. There's like a Hero Force Shield, I think you can get at Target, and I do like the CeraVe tinted mineral sunscreen. I like a tinted mineral one because they don't leave a white cast. So, if you're in the drugstore and you're looking for just like a good facial sunscreen, look for something that says it's a tinted mineral sunscreen. If you're wanting to get adventurous, start Googling Korean and Japanese sunscreens and go down that rabbit hole.
well, and I think you could probably send me a link. I feel like you did a video.
I feel like I'm always talking about it, and people are like, "Okay, send me that link again where you order from." So I'll send it to you.
Yes, so we can put that on. And then last question for you, since it is a Houston Moms podcast, what is your very favorite thing about being a mom? It's a broad question.
Oh, being a mom. So I think for me, this is just seeing the impact of raising another person, another human is probably the greatest blessing, but also giving them I grew up in a really toxic home where I feel like I've now, as an adult, had to start reparenting myself. Um, and I didn't get a mother that knew how to parent me, so I feel like I got a do-over. Like, I got a do-over in life to give that to my kids and to start over and not only reparent myself, but reparent my kids. I know that can be a little emotional, but, for me, that's probably the biggest impact it's had on me is being able to give them and myself what I didn't get as a kid.
Oh, what a beautiful way to say that.
Yeah,
Um, and the opera, I think it's such a privilege that we get to kind of influence these little people but also let them just be their own
yeah,
selves and who they were meant to be. And we can guide and we can restrict and we can recommend, but they're still, you know, just hope they make good choices.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Hopefully.
I so appreciate your time today. Like I loved getting to talk to you and you
Thank
guys,
you.
if you're not following Mego over on Instagram or on YouTube, we'll put those links below. But It's so fun. I guarantee you'll learn something. You will learn some things, especially Mondays, I think, is your like big question box day.
Yeah.
And people like can write in questions and you'd be like, what do you recommend for
Yeah, I love to
my
open the floor because I like to get a pulse on what people are wanting to know because 'cause I'm like, maybe what I'm thinking is not what they're thinking. So come and
yeah.
ask a question on Mondays.
Yeah, no, it's so fun. And I think it is just a bright spot of the internet that we all need. And we certainly want to support our Houston moms who are doing big things in and around our community and doing big things in their family homes and breaking generational curses as well.
Yep.
And what an inspiration you are. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here
Well,
today.
thanks for having me. I so appreciate this opportunity. Again, I've really just loved anyone that wants to talk to me. I enjoy it.
It was so fun. Next time we do it over cocktails and not at like 11 a.m.
Yes. We'll
Well,
go in town together. We'll set up a video camera and we'll just do something.
you'll have to maybe bribe me in front of the video camera, but you are much better than me, friend. But yes, we will do that, and we'll both go into town since we're both
Yeah.
coming from the
Meet
birds.
halfway.
Perfect. All right. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank
Y'all, we will be
thanks.
back next month with another dynamic, impactful Houston mom on the move. We appreciate you following along with this series. There are probably six other moms before this. If you want to go back and listen to their stories, if you haven't heard one before, I guarantee you will come away feeling encouraged. You will smile. You might even cry. We didn't cry today, which was amazing.
Yay.
Go back and look at those, and we will see you again in the month of May. Take care.